Hello everyone, I'm Deborah Leong. Thank you for joining me. So today we're going to be discussing downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. We're going to talk about why we do it, how we do it, and how we might modify it for those who maybe don't feel comfortable being on the floor due to wrist or shoulder pain, or simply if you just don't prefer to get onto the floor, you can use a chair instead. So we'll discuss that later on. But first we want to talk about why we do downward dog. So downward dog is really great for strengthening and integrating the shoulder. There are other reasons, but that's the main reason that I'm focusing on today. So our shoulders are really mobile. They can move in all different directions. But because of their mobility, which is wonderful, they're also not the most stable joint in the body. So we want to make sure that it's nice and strong. Okay, so when we're doing downward facing dog, we're actually creating external rotation in the upper arm bone. And it could be a little bit confusing because say this is a neutral position, external rotation is rotating my upper arm bone out to the side. But because the arms are up overhead, it can be a little bit confusing. So creating this external rotation with the arms up overhead does a couple of things. One, it actually draws that arm bone deeply into the shoulder, so it's nice and strong. And the other thing it does is it creates space for the neck. So notice if I bring my arms up, but I take my arms so that they're actually just in a neutral position, not rotating in, but they're actually rotating the other way, which actually I know it's confusing, forgive me. It's external rotation, but I'm saying I'm wrapping them in. So as I wrap them in for external rotation, you'll notice that there's space for the neck. But if I rotate them the other way, I don't know if you can see what's happening here, but notice what, as I go back and forth, notice what happens to the neck, to the space between the shoulder and the neck. So this is internal rotation, this is external rotation, and there's more space for the neck. Okay, so I'm going to be taking this onto the floor, and I'm going to explain it. There's a little mantra I like to use, which is draw down, roll in, rise up. Draw down, roll in, rise up. So what does that mean? Draw down, I'm referring to the shoulders. I want to draw the shoulder blades down the back. And notice my elbows softened a little bit, so draw the shoulder blades down. The next thing is to roll in. I roll the arms or the elbows back and in. Then last thing I do is rise up. I lift the pelvis up and back. I even draw the lower belly in to create that action of bringing the pelvis up and back. So I'll repeat that 2 more times. Draw down, shoulder blades down the back. Roll in, roll the elbows in. Rise up, draw the lower belly in and lift the pelvis up and back. 1 more time. Draw down, roll in, rise up. And notice that there's space for the neck. If I roll the arms out to the elbows out to the sides, doing that internal rotation, notice what happens to the neck. Okay? So rolling the upper arms into an external rotation creates space for the neck. Okay, so I'll show it from the other side. Draw down, roll in, rise up. Okay, so we're going to draw down, elbows soften, roll in, rise up. Draw down, roll in, rise up. Now you can also take this onto a chair. And when we do it with a chair, there's actually a nice little thing we can do where we get more of a stretch. As opposed to the strengthening, we can kind of stretch the shoulders and stretch the back in a way that we can't do when we're doing it on the floor. So even if you can do it on the floor, you might enjoy practicing it with a chair once in a while just to get this little nice effect. So we're going to take the feet so the feet are right underneath the hips, not further back where we might be unstable, but right under the hips there. Okay, we're going to create the same thing. Draw down, roll in, rise up, lift the lower belly, bring the pelvis. Draw down, roll in, rise up. Okay, now for that little stretch that I was talking about, you can also, you have two options here. You can press the hands down into the chair to really work on stabilizing that shoulder and strengthening the shoulder girdle. Another option is to actually kind of grab the side of the chair and just reach the hips back and just get this nice little stretch. It's a little variation. And you can't do this when you're on the floor. I love doing this. Okay, so either pressing the hands down into the chair, the hands on top of the seat and pressing down, or the hands on the side, kind of grabbing it and just reaching the hips back. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful. If you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to leave them below. And if this was helpful to you, if you like, maybe like and subscribe if you like, of course optional. But if you have anything that you'd like me to focus on, please feel free to leave that in the comments below. I'd love to know. I'd love to help you. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.